Hello, welcome back to Math 7 with Mr. Passon. Today we are continuing with statistics. We're talking about statistics day 2. We're talking about distributions and measures of center. So we have distributions. So let's talk about briefly what that is. So first of all, we're going to talk about what a distribution is. And what we're going to do is we're going to be interested in a couple of ways that we can think of where the center of our data is. So for us, a distribution is the collection of all of our data. And actually, let me make that smaller. So the distribution is the collection of data and how it is distributed, how it is spread out. All right, so we're going to look at two different images, and we're going to look at two different types of distributions. So if we have a distribution that looks something like this, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a little image here. So this is one type of distribution, and this is what we're going to call a symmetric distribution. Okay, and a symmetric really just means that there is some sort of line that goes through the middle, that the left side and the right side look the same. So you notice that how this side looks exactly like this side. So this is called a symmetric distribution. On the other hand, we could have a skewed distribution. All right. Oh, that one was definitely way too big. Let's make that one smaller. So now, if we think of like the highest point, and we sort of drew a line there, the left side and the right side definitely don't look the same. So this is what we would call a skewed distribution. Okay? And that's where it does not have that line of symmetry where the left side and the right side look the same. So in our case, what we're going to do is we are going to talk about when to use which types of measures of center. So we've got two different measures of center. So our measures of center are, well, there is the mean. And the mean is what we're going to use when we have a symmetric distribution. Whereas over here, the measure of center that we would want to use, that we should use, that is the median. All right. So far we've learned measures of center. That's a phrase for us, and it's a measure of sort of where our center of our data is. And for our case, we're going to talk about the mean and the median. All right? So let's talk about how to find the mean and the median. Remember, we're going to use the mean when the data is symmetric. We're going to use the median when the data is not symmetric or skewed. All right? So let's talk about how to find the mean. All right? Now, the mean also has another name that it goes by. So the mean is what we say when we're talking about a population. Another phrase that is associated with this is the average. And the average is what we're talking about when we're talking about the sample. All right? Now, it's also related to a phrase called evenly divided. So let's talk about how to find the mean. We add up all the values and divide by the number of values. All right. So let's do an example where we find the mean. Of 12, 8, 9, 10, and 15. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So our mean is going to equal 12 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 15, and then we divide by our number of data points, 5. And that's just as if we broke everything into equal pieces. Okay, now I'm going to do that calculation. So when I did this, I got 10.2. So my mean is 10.2. Okay, now the median is the value where half the data is above and half is below. All right. So in this case, what we're going to do is, how do we find it? We order the values from smallest to largest. And find the middle. Now there's two possible problems here. If there is an odd number of numbers, there is one number in the middle. And that is our median. On the other hand, if there are an even number of numbers, there are two numbers in the middle, and we average them. So we're going to do an example where we do each one of those. Let's go ahead and find the median of the same set of numbers we did before. So let's find the median of these same numbers. So we're going to write this and find the median. So first thing I'm going to do is write them in order from smallest to largest. And I've got 8, 9, 10, 12, 15. Here I've got an odd number of numbers, and there is exactly one number in the middle. So my median is 10. Let's try to find the median of a different set. This time we're going to have an even number of numbers. So let's do 8, 12, 9, 15, 7, 13, 6, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then my last number is 4. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put them in order. So I'm going to look at 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I look at this and there are, the middle is right here. There's 4 numbers on the left and 4 numbers on the right. So my median is 8 plus 9 divided by 2. Or halfway between 8 and 9, which is 8.5. Alright, so here my median was 8.5. Now, like I said, we need to know when to use the median and when to use the mean. And if we have enough data that it's easy to tell whether our data is symmetric or not symmetric, then we'll automatically know which one to use. If it's symmetric, we're going to use the mean. If it's not symmetric, we're going to use the median. However, sometimes we don't have enough data to tell yet whether our data is symmetric or not. So sometimes we're going to go ahead and calculate both and try to figure out more information later as we go along. So if I ask you to do it, and even if you're like, but this data does not look like it's symmetric, well, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and do the calculations. But we'll know which one is better later when we have different types of distributions. Now go ahead and complete the assignment. We'll talk about in Alex, and we'll talk about it more later, and we'll talk about a measure of how spread out the data is next time.